All right, guys. Welcome back to another show. Live, of course. Let me make sure everything is working so you guys can actually, hear me. Give it a good test real quick. Should be running all right. It looks like I am on my end. Of course, hopefully it is on yours. But anyways, let's get started. I know was hoping to get started a little earlier, but that is okay. I'm gonna kind of get through some of this kind of fast and stuff. I actually gotta load up some videos, and then I also have to I think just load up a couple, and then we might show some other stuff on YouTube and all that. So just bear with me. Um, make some room and stuff. Yeah, so and we'll go live out in the field here in a couple of days, a day or two. Probably not tomorrow, but Wednesday or Thursday. I think that'd be kind of cool. Of course, we probably won't be up in the tree. I think I'm going to be walking around at nighttime for you guys. So that is the plan. All right. All right. What should we do first? Hmm. Hmm. Got a couple things. We'll ease into the main topic right now. Got a little hair in my got a little hair in my mic. We'll ease into the topic right now. But before we get into the main topic and stuff, we'll showcase some really cool videos and the dangers and stuff of just being out and what can happen and the sheer power of a Bigfoot. Give me 1 second. I will actually be right back. All right, I wanted to grab a drink real quick, so thank you for bearing with me. Yeah, so the main topic and stuff is killing Bigfoot and pretty much is it possible? Can we actually kill a Bigfoot? Should we kill a Bigfoot? What are the repercussions of doing so? And we got a couple of videos for like demonstrations and stuff. And but first, I'll show you some videos, some unrelated videos, and we also have. I guess I don't know. Probably not gonna have enough time. I guess to talk about the stuff and show everything. But there's a couple of pictures and video and stuff that is going around. Um, I guess I could show on a different show. Um, yeah, we'll just do that. Yeah, so hopefully everyone's doing good. I'm a little tired. I kind of was a little hesitant to start the show up at, a little later than I wanted to, but that's okay. I actually had a pretty nice day and stuff. It wasn't too bad and too long. Just doing a little extra and stuff, getting a little extra exercises, little workouts in. I have the push-up variety, of course. Just trying to do more, do more, do more. Do that, do that. Because in December, we want to try to get an outrageous amount of push-ups done in the month of December. This one. And it's actually been a yearly progress now since we've done a push-up challenge. And the whole point is, of course, when you're out in the woods and stuff, anything can happen, especially if you went out with this crazy idea to kill Bigfoot. You don't want to be couch surfing on a couch, be a couch potato surfing on the couch all year, and then get this grandiose idea that you're gonna go out killing Bigfoot, and you're gonna go out there tromping through the woods and get the job done. And the reality is you're probably just going to get yourself hurt, sprain your ankle, twist a knee, and then you're down and out, not even 100 yards from the car. So killing Bigfoot is, far from reality in those kind of cases. So if you, just being out there and stuff, you want to make sure you're physically fit enough that if you take a tumble, you take a fall, and the most common thing that's going to happen out there on an uneven trail surface, especially if you're off trail, is tripping hazards and slippage and twisting and not stepping on even surfaces and rolling of your ankles and stuff. Because you might be stepping on sticks, you might be stepping over logs, on top of stuff, onto squishy mud, muck, all sorts of stuff. And you never know. And so if you're not really properly balanced and prepared, and your body's not used to taking awkward ranges of motion and bearing your body weight on top of that, it's a recipe for disaster and twisting. And depending on actually your physicality and even age and stuff, and in a lot of cases it doesn't really matter. You twist your knee, twist something up the wrong way, it's going to mess you up, whether you're fit and spry or you're, not so much. So it always pays well to exercise and to get a little physical before you actually get onto your hike and stuff, or your hunt for Bigfoot, if you're actually going out to kill Bigfoot, because there are groups and people who are actively say they, I guess, are out there doing it. And when you look at them, they certainly don't look the part of a person who I would say that, well, they're not going very far, I would say. All right, so here we got some crazy videos of some, I guess that one did, some different stuff. In this stream, there you might see some violence, some gore, some deaths, some critical damage caused by firearms and various stuff. So check out this crazy video. This person gets hurt. She is real hurt, real messed up. Look at that. Bam! That actually is really good. I have to admit that is one of the better ones of I didn't know it was AI until it actually started happening. I was expecting a head bonk or tongue lick. But it is amazing what you can do and what's going on. It's a lot easier to do with cows and people, especially when they understands what it wants to make and can really do it. But here's an example of some AI, and it even has its own audio and stuff that's playing its own made up voices, and it looks pretty flawless. So not really pertaining from to the subject matter, but something I had already ready to go. And we had a bunch of clips. We'll stay up and stuff. Um, Not too crazy late, but enough to get the job done, I think. And bear with me, I'm a little tired. I could go to sleep right now. Be asleep within 5 minutes. Guess I don't have. Getting pretty good, especially if you're on you're on your phone. You look there and you're like, whoa, AI is pretty bad. The only way to really fight against this, to stand against this, is to actually just go out in the woods and film it yourself, and film you being out there, and have other people out there, and be a trusted source of at least if that person gets something, they have a little integrity to stand on, and not a complete hoaxer and stuff like some of these other people, like Sasquatch Ontario with the masks, and his little Bigfoot buddies, whatever. Nefertiti, I think, right? Which is, of course, so original. Not really. Is this the one? So if you don't have any integrity and stuff, and you're out there, I just laugh. I always laugh when because people are out there and they're experiencing stuff, or they're not experiencing stuff. Most of the time, they're not experiencing stuff, and they get all hyper and flabbergasted about experiencing stuff that's not going on because they're seeing a deer, or they took a thermal of a deer and its snout and its ears propped up and its bulging eyes that are going to be glowing facing forward in night vision and stuff. They think that's Dogman, and all of a sudden Dogman's after them, and it's very comical and stuff because there's a lot of people who are very eager to get out there and go do it, but it's almost like they're playing this fantasy character of Bigfoot researcher, and not really actually going out there and wanting to find the truth and the answers of, or just simply walking over towards the subject that you're filming and seeing if it's actually a deer or the dog man that you so adamantly claim that you captured, and thermal or night vision and stuff. You really have to go out there, and yeah, it's fucking scary when you are thinking that there's a 8 foot, 9 foot plus tall Sasquatch in the wood line right there, however many yards away, that if it was there and it is a reality in that situation, could kill you. Let's not joke the matter, especially if we're going to be killing Sasquatch. You're asking for warfare against a creature that tends to be shy and not really mess with people. At least Bigfoot researchers on camera, because no one's got it on camera enough to we've been messed with, even though there's other reports and all this of all sorts of things. At least no one in our community is able to at least replicate that stuff on camera. Look at this crazy video of this bear. crazy video of this AI. It's AI bear. If you guys didn't notice, just look at the trampoline. It's a double stack trampoline with some weird legs going on. There's a lot of photos. There's a lot of stuff. I didn't have it ready, but there's a photo of this like Bigfoot over this white caribou or white reindeer elk body and stuff, and people are thinking it's legitimate. And for some reason, that is tricking a lot of people that it shouldn't at all. You should know, you should understand, or there's simple AI tools and stuff. You can put these images into some software that will tell you that it's 85% likely to be AI. Or just like, and I don't have it ready, of the Bigfoot and the baby going around, and it's it's the one hoax. Nikki was actually talking about in her show last night. I have it saved in my phone, but I'm on 6% on my phone. I don't have it on the computer. It's like anyways, I have it's the film for that French documentary of Bigfoot or ape people or whatever, and it's an exhibit. You can go to the website. I have it saved in my phone. We're gonna do a different show and expose that plethora of different photographs of the scenes that were in that documentary are resurfacing with a different story and different date. And a simple reverse Google picture search pops up the website, pops out a couple websites with articles showing the statues and the exhibit and everything else. So it's kind of hilarious that people don't even take 5 seconds just to do that. And it's really frustrating and stuff when they kind of say, well, you don't have a degree in computer graphics or forensics, computer graphics, forensics, and all that. How can you tell? And just because you don't have any background schooling and education in that kind of stuff means you're not qualified or something for some reason. Even though you can tell with the graphics, you can tell with the resolution, you can tell. There's other telltale signs, just because some people are, maybe needing a new pair of glasses and stuff, it doesn't mean that everyone, you have to verify every AI thing by some guy who has a PhD in computer forensics. Because who's doing that? Is there anyone that we have available to do that as a full-time fucking job? Because otherwise, some people are. It's real. It's legit. Just like they're experiencing Bigfoot all the time. It's real. It's legit. Well, everyone's so friendly and wants to get out there and look at Bigfoot, but Bigfoot is like 600, 800, 1,000, 1,200 pound animal, depending on how big they get. I mean, a 7-foot creature, could be 600 pounds. At 7 foot, humans are generally 300 plus pounds, 320. You could be 400 pounds and stuff. Those world's strongest men and stuff are usually tipping the scales at 300, 400 plus pounds. So you get to 8 foot, 9 foot, 10 foot, you're talking 1,200 pounds of Sasquatch. And they're built a lot differently than gorillas and stuff. And, I think a lot of people think, gorillas are like 10 to 20 times stronger than an average person or something crazy like that. Even though there's no video of like a gorilla doing a bench press, 500-pound bench press, however many reps, or 1,000-pound bench rep. So it's got a little video here, but we got some demonstrations of them, pulling humans and fighting each other, and we can tell just by the mass how fast they move, how big the muscles are. But notice how stubby the legs are. A Sasquatch doesn't have stubby legs and stuff. So when you have about 6 foot, just under 6 foot tall, 500, 600-pound gorilla, that same 500, 600-pound Sasquatch is going to be stronger on average than this gorilla, simply because its legs are longer. It has more muscle, more volume to generate energy, especially standing up and lifting like a human would, not having stubby legs like a gorilla. Even though gorillas are, on all fours crawling and stuff, gorillas and Sasquatches, when they spider crawl, are completely different movements and stuff, because they have two different locomotions, because they're built completely different. Especially the hind legs region. Gorillas seem to almost have, I would say, like half the legs that a Sasquatch would have. And from what I've seen, a creature spider crawling, it was nothing like this gorilla. And that gorilla right there is charging the people. And it's putting its butt in the people's face. It's turning its back to show them, you're nothing. I'm not afraid of you. I'm turning my back to you. That's how literally I don't care. You're so weak. You're so weak. I'm turning my back to you. Like, do something. That's what the gorilla is doing. That's what that behavior is doing. I don't know if Bigfoots would do that, but sometimes, they do turn around and just simply walk away from hunters with guns, from people, and in certain situations where it's like, they don't like Patty and stuff. She just turns and walks away. She doesn't seem to have any urgency to get out of there. Even though those people are on horseback, there's a gun, right? There's one with a rifle and there's a camera, and so I wonder if that's a part of that, and that might play a little role in if you killing a Bigfoot and stuff. If they have this kind of macho mentality of I'm just going to turn and walk away, that's a pretty opportune shot to shoot him in the back of the head, which I'm sure with what we will demonstrate and stuff we will see, may or might not be effective as we get into it. But the fact of the matter is, if you shoot a Sasquatch, or you actually go out there trying to kill one, say a big male, let's just say a big male, right? The alpha male. You're going to be fighting something that's like twice the size of this, that can move faster than a gorilla on all fours. I would assume probably as fast as a gorilla, but standing up, being how they're more human-like with their legs, and reportedly have been up running, 40 miles an hour, is much faster than what a gorilla can do on open land. As fast as a gorilla, bulldozing through all the environment on all fours that you simply aren't escaping and stuff. So if you miss, you shoot one, it doesn't go down right away. It's going to probably come right after you, and it's going to bulldoze through the environment like nothing you've ever seen or imagined or heard. And that shock and awe is most likely going to get 99% of us outright shitting ourselves and dying instantly, because the creature is going to be mad. It's going to be full of adrenaline and stuff, and you're not gonna wish you shot him at that point. So is killing a Bigfoot really smart, and the idea that we should be doing? I mean, I don't think it's a smart idea at all. I mean, if you want to talk about pissing off one creature or multiple creatures, that seems to be a sure ticket to end your life. There are unconfirmed reports of people who have shot Sasquatches, and later on, the Sasquatch or more, multiple ones have sought revenge and apparently have killed people. And, this is wrapped up, rolled up, and covered up by the state, by governments, by, I say, a lot of states, actually. Um, Simply because, animals, whether you think Sasquatch is a people and super intelligent or whatever, wild animals, things that live in the woods, things that are wild, pretty much almost every wild animal on this planet, if you push and shove them into a corner, will defend themselves, will attack, and even some big animals, given the opportunity, and if they're starving, they're gonna get easy prey of food, which a majority of the time would be humans, because you look at any big cats or bears or any kind of animal that doesn't necessarily prey on people, but then starts to prey on people, it's usually because they're old or they're sick or they're injured, and humans are a lot easier to obtain than wild animals, and they're a lot easier to digest and chew, being our soft tissues, compared to usually anything else that's on the menu with big cats like tigers or lions, leopards. So, same thing with a Sasquatch and stuff. You might have something that is old, it can't catch deer, it's injured, and you know what? It's a lot easier to trick a person to come towards you with mimicry or throwing objects, or kind of spooking them into an area, because humans are a lot slower than a deer in the woods, so you could easily get one or spook it, hurt it somewhere. Most of the time, I think people are not going to be prepared to take on a big Sasquatch, even if it's injured. But those of us who are prepared, there are, I think, some options we could take a look at that might be an effective way to kill a Bigfoot if it was necessarily for self-defense, or for those crazy enough to actually go actively hunt a Bigfoot and want to put one down. I think there probably are a couple different options that we can take a look at if you guys want to. Let me look at the chat, see what's going on. I don't expect a big crowd being on a Monday, and it didn't really appetize and all that, but that is 1,000% okay, because we're still going to have fun and hang out. Okay, so we are going to take a look at some YouTube video from a channel called Kentucky Ballistics, and he does a pretty good job. We're going to take a look at two different videos. We're going to kind of skip through them and kind of get the main gist of just a couple different items on each video. So if you guys want to check out the all full content, you guys need to just go to the videos and check out the entirety, because they're awesome stuff that you're not going to see on here that you want to check out over there. But before we do that, let me see what's going on in the chat from Bigfoot Truth. So what's up? He's on mission right now. Sounds good. Yeah, stepped on a rattlesnake and leaves in a washout once. Hit the rattle. Yeah, we got Michigan rattlesnakes around us, but they're pretty, as long as you don't step on them directly, most of the time they do not want to be around you. And that rattle is actually a warning saying, please don't step on me. And it's actually nice of them to rattle instead of going right after you and biting you, because there are actually some snakes that are more aggressive and stuff that actually will go after you and stuff. Yeah, there's the Wood Conservancy, which they, I guess, for many years now, many years now, have wanted and have been actively trying to kill the creature. And that is a sure way to prove it exists. And I know it's in the name for conservancy, but yeah, you got to prove it exists, then you can help it and set out land and stuff. But are we at that point and stuff? Is it that dire need that we really need to kill a Bigfoot when I mean we don't even have him on film and barely recognized on audio? We know, no one agrees on any of the stuff besides maybe the Patterson film is legit, but there's many people who've kind of flip flop both ways. So there is no evidence. You know, no one's got them on film. It's a lot easier to point a camera and shoot a 60 frames per second, 60 photographs per second, 60 frames per second, than it is to aim a rifle or aim a pistol and breathe and follow through and shoot and not get all adrenaline rushed and tunnel vision. So I don't know, but people have said that they've seen them in their rifle scopes, but no one supposedly has took the shot, unless you believe the I can't remember his name. He shot one in the throat or something, and he like choked the juvenile out. I can't remember, but I believe he was a contestant on Spike TV's Bigfoot show. The one, I can't remember what it's called right now, but yeah. Well, I believe that people have a right to kind of say what they want about the evidence presented, and if you can't handle it, you can't explain it, or if the evidence simply doesn't show clearly, then as much investment as you have, and there's stuff that I have that you know, it really ain't worth a damn, even though there's an experience behind it. But at the same time, you got to have respect for the people who are trying to present out there doing it too, even if you think they're doing it wrong. You can always try to help them. And if they don't want to listen, well, at least they're out there trying and they have video cameras, and there's something that might actually happen. Once in a while, a broken clock can be right a couple of times. We didn't miss nothing too far. Texas Jack just slowly getting this plane up in the air. Yeah, yeah. I think too the amount of strength to spider crawl all that bulk, whereas gorilla keeps their limbs roughly vertical column for like a sport. Yeah, and they're built like that too, completely different. What I seen is spider crawling, it almost looked like big cat movement, slinking on the ground. That's how low profile it was to the ground compared to gorillas being all hunched up and like this, knuckle walkers. I remember interesting on that Spike TV Bigfoot program, they had that DNA scientist guy with the spiky hair. He was the spiky hair, the glasses. I can't remember his name. He said gorillas weren't knuckle walkers and great apes weren't knuckle walkers because they found some evidence or something like that. And I was like, what? You go watch the videos of gorillas knuckle walking. Like, no, they just eat vegetables. Actually, gorillas actually eat so much vegetation that they have to eat their own feces to get protein because they don't eat enough meat and stuff. So they actually have to do that. Whereas Bigfoot, I don't think needs to eat its own feces because it doesn't have just a um, vegetation style diet. It consumes meat through deer. I would guess other animals. So again, their digestive system, they're just built completely different. They have completely different diets and ecosystems and stuff. But the spider crawling and stuff, yeah, from what I seen, it was very fluid and stuff. So like, yeah, the amount of body strength and endurance, really, it's not just about the strength. Strength is one thing. You can lift. Say Sasquatch lifts 1,000 pounds. Okay, well, how many times can the Sasquatch do that without getting super tired? So now you're talking, well, it's spider crawling around. How long can it do that without getting physically exhausted to where now it can't do that anymore? If me and you go try to do that, we're going to last, let's say, 10 minutes out in the woods. You'll be busting the sweat. You'll be feeling it. I think some, maybe less, maybe more, can probably push it past 10 minutes. But there's going to be a point to where you're going to give up. You're not going to be able to do it. And it's not going to be all day. 1 minute. Let me get a drink real quick. I think that will help. So, that's a good, easy test that we could do. And so, the endurance of the muscle, the endurance of that power is how long can they keep pushing without giving up? How much can they lift? How much can they keep lifting without giving up, being tired? And what we see with animals, especially in survival situations, and people too, but you can see this with the animals a lot in YouTube videos or whatever, is animals are treading water for hours and hours and hours, and they're super super tired, and when they're rescued, they just literally physically collapse over and pass out and will sleep for hours and hours and hours and hours, even when a person is trying to wake up this animal. That level of physical exertion, you know that is power. One strength is one thing, speed is something, but when you combine them, that's power and stuff, because that's uh, lifting amount of force, how fast you can lift it and stuff, and how many times you can do it. And I think Sasquatches are pretty powerful with the endurance level that they have, because just to spider crawl that body weight, you got you have to be able to have that as a functional movement, where it's a natural movement that doesn't cause excess exhaustion to the body. To get that normalized, as normal as walking would be for us, your muscles have to be so ripped in endurance that it is going to be beyond what we see with gorillas and stuff. And that means that muscle fiber is going to be pretty dense. And so, you know, if you miss, you shoot a Bigfoot, you want to kill a Bigfoot, you better think about the repercussions of that. All that strength and endurance chasing after you nonstop and wanting to pop your head. Because before I get into some of these guns that might cause damage, let's talk about some of the damage that the Sasquatch is going to cause you with its hands, because that's its number one weapon, is its hands. Probably its brain, I would assume, first, with tactics, herding you into a thicket of bushes or thorns, or herding you up and down ravines, tiring you out before it finally gets up to you, because that's what hunters and prey and predators do to prey animals. Tactic to tire you out, make you run out of ammo. You're blindly shooting at stuff. You're not hitting anything. You're huffing and puffing, and all of a sudden, you drop half your stuff. You don't know where it's at anymore. All of a sudden, you got five rounds left or whatever. To think that a Sasquatch hasn't encountered a person with a gun and a person who's intent to use that gun, I'm sure they have. I'm sure they know tactics and to know to go around and to do things that, as a hunter, when you're looking and you would hunt a deer or a bear or normal game, it's not going to be efficient enough to counteract what these tactics of a Sasquatch would be. I would say, you would probably have to go look at hunting tigers, hunting leopards over in India and stuff, some of those tactics. Actually, Bob Giblin, the YouTube channel, did an excellent a story of a leopard hunt over in India. And that is kind of some of the stuff that, would apply to a Sasquatch and stuff if you were actively hunting him in the woods. I think the only way that you could sneak up on one is if you knew it came to your residence and you set up some sort of decoy, some sort of blind, and you laid out there and you were just ready for it to walk across somewhere that you knew it was, or a gifting spot. Potentially, trick it, get its guard dulled to the sense of it doesn't really worry about danger in the area because you're feeding it at the gifting spot, or your whatever, a real gifting spot. And you lay up there with whatever weapons and you take your shot. I think that might be the perfect scenario, maybe the easiest, with the easiest access to what to do with the dead body afterwards, because what are you going to do with a 1,000-pound animal after you just shot it in the middle of nowhere? Are you going to go drag it back to your truck? But if you have a gifting spot next to a residence or your cabin, I mean, that's a lot closer to development in your truck than off trail miles or wherever you might be in the middle of a swamp. Now you got a half dead or a dead Sasquatch sinking in the swamp. I mean, what are you going to do? Drag it out? It's not a deer. It weighs a lot more. Everyone has these ideas about killing the Bigfoot, but then, what happens afterwards when you can't get it out? And then people will be like, well, chop off the hand, chop off the head, there you go. And that's a big waste. I think that would piss off the Sasquatches more, finding that done to a Sasquatch, than just finding a Sasquatch that had been shot. Finding a Sasquatch that had been desecrated with its head chopped off and its hand chopped off, that might elicit some extreme revenge. Yeah, gorillas do throw poop, rocks, sticks, and debris. But generally, gorillas don't fight, other than leopards and stuff, they don't fight each other the same way that chimps do, the same way a Sasquatch would fight a human or potentially other Sasquatches and stuff. We don't have many reports, but gorillas just wrestle each other and bite. You kind of pound and slap, but they wrestle and they bite. They push on you into submission. Their fights are not, compared to chimpanzees, it's a pillow fight. They don't fight to the death usually. They don't fight until they don't gouge each other's eyes out, rip appendages off. They don't bite fingers off. They don't rip private parts off. They don't do any of that. Rip a face off. Chimpanzees do that when they fight each other, or they go to war with other tribes, or they attack a person. You go look up a chimp attack on a people, and it is very violent. And gorillas are not like that when they fight each other, especially family members. And actually, there's been cases where chimpanzees have actually ganged up and killed the gorillas. Because gorillas really don't know how to fight the same way as chimpanzees. They're kind of gentle giants because they're so massively big that most things don't want to mess with them. I would assume with Sasquatch too. And if they're intelligent enough, The only thing that would be really messing with a Sasquatch, of course, humans, because we mess with every single thing on this planet. But being intelligent and big, and you not have to worry about always getting attacked, unless there's bears, but a big black bear ain't gonna really attack a full-grown Sasquatch, a group of full-grown Sasquatch, but juveniles, small ones, I would assume so. Yes, big grizzly bears and brown bears. Um, I don't think would actively go after an adult male Sasquatch more than they would go after an adult brown bear, other than a territorial battle. But a group of Sasquatches versus a lone brown bear, it's not a win. It's not a good scenario for the brown bear at all. I mean, it's not really a fair match with odd numbers stacked against you with hands and tools and the ability to throw boulders, which is apparently what happens. That is correct, and we do have firearms that are capable of killing basically any land mammal that is known to exist. So far, like grizzly bears, polar bears, Cape buffalo, crocodiles, elephants, and the such. So, wouldn't it seem to reason that Sasquatch would fall under that umbrella? Actually, the class of animals that the world is divided in different classes and stuff based on their thickness of their skin and bone structure and stuff. But most North American game animals are class 3, and the top of that class 3 would be brown bears and polar bears, pushing a little bit towards class 4, which is big game African animals like Cape buffalo, rhino, elephant. They are class 4, which you need big bore rifles to take down successfully in a one shot. You don't want to be shooting a little 22 at them, but there are always old school hunters that use a little 22 and plink stuff behind the ear and take down a polar bear each and every year. So that stuff does happen. Yeah, gorillas are they knuckle walk and stuff. I mean, it's a no brainer. I just don't. I'm not. I just. It's on that Spike Bigfoot TV reality show, where they had to win a prize. Stacey Brown won it. It was it Dean Kane? Wasn't he the host or something like that? I think, or am I right? Is that what the host was? It was on a long time ago, but whatever, that DNA scientist. Yeah, he well, there's a little clip where he said that they're not knuckle walkers, which is odd. But anyways, I'm getting a little distracted with the chat and stuff from the main subject, but that's okay. No, I don't watch the Confessional podcast because I just some of the clips and stuff, that I'll come across. But I think so, seems like a lot of those guys are just phony, made up stuff. A lot of talkers who do a lot of talking, not a lot of evidence, not no evidence to show, just a lot of talking. But no, I have not seen that one. Supposedly blew its head off. With what kind of weapon and round was they using? It was turkey load because he was turkey hunting. Yeah, exactly. Having a gifting site at a homestead, you have big machinery and stuff that you're able to quickly get out there. as civilians, not non-government entities, you got to hook up that tractor and stuff and drag that body out. You don't want it to be too far. Yeah, I think it was Bigfoot Bounty or something like that was the name of the show that they were both on. Something like that. I'm not streaming to Facebook, but yeah, I'm on Facebook and all that. Turkey load, huh? He, how close was the Bigfoot then? Because you'd have to be extremely close, and I don't think that it. I don't know. I really don't. I don't see it blowing a Bigfoot's head off. I just don't see that. Because we're going to take a look at some examples of some examples that would show this actually. So let me do this over here. Screen share. Wait a minute. Oh, okay. All right, what do you guys see? You guys see that? Okay. Is that okay? Let's see. That should be all right for you guys, right? Texas Jack says I take a Winchester Model 70 and 458 Winchester mag or my Model 1886 rechambered to 5110 into the bush, keeping the buckskin cover with a slit over my hand. Oh man. Let's find out if that's a good caliber to use or not for those who are not gun fanatics and stuff. Wait. I'm not sure if this has audio or not. Let me redo it because I didn't remember seeing the audio tab. Yes, audio. All right, so this is for educational purposes, of course. No copyright stuff because we're doing commentary on it. Of course, we're using for educational purposes and applying this same situation scenario into the Bigfoot world instead of having a bear skull with gelatin around it representing a bear. We're going to theorize that this is a Sasquatch skeleton, roughly the same size as the bear, because that's what we have. It isn't. They don't make Sasquatch gelatin replicas yet. Maybe we should send that idea into him. But he has a lot cooler videos than what a Sasquatch would be able to withstand. Then we'll check that out here shortly.
Glock 29 chambered in 10 millimeter, and I'll be loaded up with some Underwood ammo, 220 grain hard cast. Okie dokie.
See what it does.
Let's see what happens. Hey, that thing there's got some pop to it.
A little snappy. All right, so you shoot a Bigfoot in the face that's charging at you. Bam. You think that pissed it off? You think that's going to do some damage?
It hit the bear right in his snout, and it traveled through the skull somewhat. We got some green in there.
It's like it fractured the skull.
But I don't see an exit hole. Oh, wait a second. Oh, there's the round right there at the very back.
What do you guys think? You think that was able to kill a Bigfoot?
The 10 millimeter was actually quite impressive and penetrated a lot deeper than I thought it would.
What do you guys think? Same thickness as the bear skull. Now, see, the bear skull is going to be angled differently. It has that forward angled motion, so the skull is angled up, whereas the Bigfoot would be kind of potentially angled that way too because of the crest, and if it's on all fours, spider crawling at you with its head down like a bear, it actually might be the same angle as like the bear is, where it's down instead of facing up, standing up, where you have a big headshot. Where that 10 millimeter at that close of range, I think that might be enough to put a stop into something. Maybe not though. I mean, if it's charging full blast at you, adrenaline full pumping, I think one shot at 10 millimeter in the face might not be enough to fully stop it from killing you. He might feel it after killing you, when the adrenaline kind of dumps and he's like, oh my goodness, my face is kind of hurting a little bit. What do you guys think? If you're actually killing a Bigfoot and you got a 10 millimeter, right? What do you think? All right, let's keep watching because they're gonna keep upping the calibers and stuff. This is bear defense. So a 9 millimeter which is the most common handgun in America. 9 millimeter, would do slightly less damage, probably not enough kinetic energy and stuff to actually like stoppage, shock. But penetration wise, what do you guys think? You think you'd probably get through that skull, depending on what kind of rounds and stuff you use. They got some snazzy, fast flying rounds and some jacketed hollow points that might expand, might do a little bit more damage than some of these than a hollow point would. You definitely wouldn't want to use a hollow point on a Sasquatch or a bear in a handgun. That's small caliber.
Would. But this next gun is probably going to penetrate even deeper. Ooh. This is a Smith & Wesson Combat Magnum 44 Magnum with a 3-inch barrel, and I have some Underwood ammo, 340 grain 44 Magnum plus P.
And you want that short barrel and stuff in the woods and stuff because you're in the brush and stuff. You can carry it on your chest, which most people in bear country do, carry it on your chest or at the side. You don't have much room to have a big barrel to be waving around, especially if you're in thick brush and you don't have a rifle available to swing over and stuff. Having this pistol and having it short so you can get it out faster without having a big old barrel to get out of the sleeve, the holster. So that's that wouldn't be bad. But a big dirty hairy handgun, 44 with a big barrel, that looks intimidating. But in the woods and stuff, in the brush, not as practical.
All right, here we go. Oh, I think I hit a little high.
So this is an excellent example of shooting bear and potentially shooting Bigfoot. Is that bullet basically bounced right off of his skull, right? Like a pebble skipping on the water. Let's watch that again. Might replay it again. You see that? It hits and bounces and goes straight up. And so when a bear is charging you like that, that's an extremely bad thing that can happen to low caliber handguns like a 9 millimeter. That 10 millimeter could have happened and stuff, depending on the rounds and stuff that you use and where you hit it. The movement of the bear, the angle of the bear, and how that bear skull is going to be angled down will reflect. We don't know how thick a Sasquatch skull is, but assuming it is as thick as a gorilla skull, the results would be about the same. Your handguns and your guns will skip off the angle of the crest, same way that we just seen with this bear, which is common with bear. So if you're sure you want to be killing Bigfoot, you want to make sure you shoot it properly, because even with a 44, you shoot it wrong and it's not going to kill it. It's not going to stop it. All that did was pissed it off, blew a little chunk of skull off. It's still going. It's going to kill you, and then it's going to be hurting afterwards when the adrenaline dump actually happens. So if you have one, and this is headshots and stuff, right? So you shoot it into the chest cavity, which is the most densest muscle part of it and stuff, and you don't hit vital organs and stuff. I don't think that it's going to put a stop to that Bigfoot. There's too much muscle and density and stuff. Then it might deflect and stuff too, depending on how you shoot it, and if it hits bone. It might not even penetrate enough to even hit vital organs, depending on the round you use. Like you use a hollow point instead of a hard cast. It might not go that deep in the chest. So let's take another look. I think you can say it again. Looking at the big screen over here.
Yeah, I would say so. This combat magnum seems to be shooting a little high. I was aiming right there, and we hit right here.
That's a big drastic difference in where you're aiming and stuff. And so if you bought a brand new gun, you haven't test fired it, you don't know where it shoots, and now you're going to go kill Bigfoot, or God forbid you have to defend yourself against a bear or Bigfoot or whatever. You want to know where your bullet's going to be shooting and hitting at. That is almost, just under a foot difference of where he was aiming from the snout, and not quite a foot, but that's several inches different. That's a huge difference to where you would shoot over the animal. And with the revolver only having 6 shots, you're very limited on your ammo. So you can't be missing, and you can't be grazing skull shots, head shots, when the bear is closing in on you super fast, or Sasquatch is coming after you because you are trying to kill it, or it's trying to kill you.
We skinned the top and busted up the skull pretty good, and then we shot out the back. I'm going to go ahead and take one more.
Yeah, I mean, it has a cracked skull. Its skull's cracked, and a chunk of freaking scalp's missing, but it's going to not feel that until after it kills you. Okay, so this is not a joke. And the funny thing is, as we go after these creatures with a lot of people with no guns and stuff, with cameras, and we can't see at nighttime, and we can't run around in the woods. I mean, you look how thick the wood is behind him. You're not just going to go running through that without getting poked and stopped by something, or stuck, or tripped up, and especially at nighttime if you don't have flashlights to actually see. So the idea that it's just hilarious and stuff that we go out there and try to film these 1,000-pound killing machines, muscle freaks of nature, with cameras and stuff, But would you do that with a big bear the same way? No. You wouldn't go out there and try to film a bear with no flashlights and walking up to it off trail and stuff like that. But for some reason, Bigfoot's okay. Even though Bigfoot, pound for pound, probably take you out a lot faster than a bear. I mean, a bear's going to start eating you. You'd probably be still alive. At least a Sasquatch will put you out of your misery. Unless it doesn't want to, and that's a different story, because there are reports of that. All right, so let's continue to watch this awesome video, guys. Right, a real manly video.
Shot with the 44 Magnum and see if I can do any better.
All right, shoots him again. Oh, and we're
this
at a little
game. You're not
commercial ready. Ad. Oh. Oh, now that looked a lot better, right? Shot placement. Oh, and that looks like pass through, full skull. cranial cavity. It is
All right. Let's see here.
wrecked.
Looks like I hit about right there. And we made it all the way through that time. We have an exit hole right there. So it looks like with a Smith & Wesson Combat Magnum with 340 grain plus P hard cast, it's going to be sending them a little high. I was aiming.
And I think that is the minimal handgun round that you would probably want to be shooting a Bigfoot with if you were actively trying to kill one with a handgun, or you really were determined with self-defense. That is the probably minimal. Although that 10 millimeter probably would get that job done when you mag dump twice as many rounds that you have with that 444 revolver. You know, some good shot placement, you can take down a Sasquatch and stuff. I simply can do that. So killing a Sasquatch probably isn't too hard. We have the technology, right? We've conquered the wilds. We've made fire.
Literally at the bottom of
We're going
his
to
chin.
skip ahead a little
100
bit.
grain jacket.
He's going to shoot another more powerful handgun, a more popular.
So up next, I have a Ruger Super Red Hawk Alaskan with a 2.5-inch barrel, and this is chambered in 454 Casull. And
that is a nice round, big bear stopping round, and definitely a big player in the Bigfoot stopping power.
The rounds I have are some Underwood ammo, 300 grain jacketed hollow points. Oh!
And as you can see, that will get the job done. And that is something that, you know, you shoot that too many times, you're going to be feeling your wrist. If a woman shoots that might break their wrist. This is not something that you're going to be continuing to do mag dump and reload and be shooting and shooting and shooting and shooting. This is like a one and done kind of a thing for most people. But as you see, the damage is phenomenal. And this is why these are bear guns and stuff. And this is and, you know, these do take down, you know, buffaloes and stuff. People use some of these, that Casull on African game. As you can see why. And this is all educational demonstration purposes because, you know, if a wild bear is charging you, it's nice to know what kind of caliber weapons realistically do damage and what it looks like. And even that skip of that skull with that 44, that's a prime example of, even though that following shot pierced right through that skull, almost like it was butter. If you shoot it at the wrong angle, it's not going to be as effective and stuff. But that 454, man, that packs a heck of a punch right there. And you see it fractures the skull, zips on right through, so that would be good candidate at shooting it in the chest.
So you may have noticed
you'd probably have a good expansion and energy transfer of shooting a Bigfoot in the chest with a 454 Casull at point blank range, definitely, but you know, within 25 yards, 20 yards, that would probably stop a charging Bigfoot, or at least make it misstep enough that you can shoot him again. Yeah, you know, a charging Sasquatch on all fours or standing up. I mean, I don't, you know, it's like a charging bear, but there's that intelligence and stuff, that determination and that willpower and stuff that animals have, which are more instinctive and stuff. You know, humans have it, you know, where we think about it and stuff. We don't really have that natural instincts, but all of a sudden you get an adrenaline rush. You get some tactics flowing. You start determining and believing in yourself. You can do some crazy stuff. So we don't know how crazy a Sasquatch can be when it's full enraged, when it's wounded, when it's, you know, got it save its children. Like a mother, 120-pound mother will lift a car off the children. You know, what will a mother Sasquatch do? And if it really needs to come down to it, we don't have many examples of their destruction. And we have old, you know, John Green tales of like old drums being thrown, you know, up in trees, over trees, multiple yardage, but no one's documented, no one's witnessed stuff. There is a pretty good video of the Bigfoot next to the construction workers in Canada that underhand throws a branch of a tree that I think is pretty legitimate based on the size of that branch and how he throws into stuff. That does show some power. All right, so let's see. Right here.
Out a 1 ounce 12 gauge slug.
This is the basic setup I think most Americans would have. And what I would recommend about having out in the woods if you're in bear country, when we go up north, we will carry a rifle or shotgun stuff just because we actually have been off walking on the road and a bear was 10 feet from our group right there. We startled each other. Thankfully, it ran off in the woods. But if it didn't and started attacking and stuff, you want to be ready and able to get this thing off of you. And I don't think bear spray is going to be enough to stop a Sasquatch that actually wants to cause you damage. A bluff charge from a Sasquatch that's messing with you, I'm sure bear spray might do the trick. And it might just piss it off enough that you know what, you're not leaving anymore. It's not like a bear where that switch flips and it's fight or flight and it's instant. Oh my God, run away! You're a danger. You're a threat. I don't want no part of you. Sasquatch will think, want revenge and will think, and remember. And plot, and they have emotion and moods, and it's a little bit different than an animal that instinctively is driven away than a Sasquatch that reluctantly has to go away but doesn't want to and wants to come back and do something. And depending on he asks and if you believe some of these reports and stories, there's a very bad side, a menacing side to the Sasquatch, these wild men, a very vengeful side that they don't tolerate violence on their kind. And you see that with examples of Native Americans being, killing a Bigfoot and the whole village being slaughtered and stuff as revenge for one Bigfoot and stuff. And supposedly, even in modern times, that still is kind of a thing of they will extract revenge, and it's going to be a lot more than just a single person for a single Sasquatch. All right, so let's take a look at the shotgun 12 gauge with the most common slug that you can get. It's nothing special.
And if you are enjoying this content and you want to see more content like this, make sure you hit that subscribe button. And if you are already subscribed, make sure you don't miss out on future videos by hitting that bell and turning on all notifications. All right, here we go.
Albion Online is a sandbox MMORPG in which
I don't like that.
You write your own story.
All right, here we go.
Hey.
Viable America. The 12 gauge, pretty much nice 12 gauge setup. You can conquer North America pretty much no problem. I think we can pretty much do that. And what Doug
wow.
Rangers do.
Okay, looks like we hit somewhere in this area here.
That's plenty good.
And I do not see. Oh, there it is.
Doesn't matter. I don't think the back matters. The front looks good enough. Forest Rangers actually use 12 gauge. They use buckshot slug combination, one after the other, because you want that hard slug to put that big animal down, and you also want that buckshot to have that multiple spread to be able to shoot through the brush if you need to shoot through the brush because you don't have an accurate sight picture or animals fleeing, or there's just so much foliage in front of you that you need some multiple shot to be able to make sure you hit something and smack it hard enough that it knows. All right, so we are actually going to stop it right there for the handguns because you guys can watch the bigger bore handguns as they. Actually, you know what? We'll do one more. How about that? We'll do this one.
So is your hand. Since we are doing a bear video, I feel like it's appropriate to use an actual bear gun. This is a Smith & Wesson 460 Magnum ES, which stands for Emergency Survival. These actually came in bear kits that come with a whistle and a
So these were before that 500. And
emergency
stuff.
blanket.
I think it's just the 500 after this.
Get all kinds of cool stuff. And then you have this hand cannon, which has a 2 3/4 inch barrel. As you can imagine, she be kicking. Underwood ammo, 360 grain hard
Yeah, look
cast.
at that bullet, man.
Whoa! All right, let's ride the lightning.
Look at that.
Golly!
Yeah, I think that bear ate that pretty good. I think if you shove that up in its mouth, it's gonna have a bad day. It's gonna want to go to the dentist. I think that's A grade right there. It's tier 1 of what we need.
I hit it right in the mouth. I don't know if Yogi Bear is going to be wanting any more pig.
Yeah. All right, so yeah, so obviously that 500 is going to definitely do the job, do more damage and stuff. We're going to put an end to that video. I got a couple videos I got to load up actually for you guys. Take a look at some of these questions, comments, and concerns. Yeah, there's a couple of guys who've almost hurt himself. There's one guy who blew himself up with the RPG that malfunctioned and blew open his face and cracked his skull, brain bleeding and stuff. He survived, but like, dang, man. That's a video so you guys can watch for educational purposes only, of course, of what not to do and what can happen unexpectedly. I will do that. We will. That is correct. And the table isn't charging and stuff, you know. It's completely different to shoot at a stationary object that you can sit there and breathe and aim and shoot as accurately as you can instead of something that's charging at you as fast as possible. And I can't remember. I'll just look it up right now. You know. How many yards? We're going to look up. How many yards can a bear charge? I'll say in 10 seconds. It's like something crazy. Not interested. Yeah, so a grizzly bear can charge about 20 yards per second at, you know, full speed. 20 yards a second. That is crazy. Basically, that means that at full speed, where that table is, where that bear is, the next second later, that bear is at that guy. That's how fast the bear is charging. Yeah, that is correct. And what we've seen with this demonstration of the bear skull and that 44 Magnum, actually, which is not too something shy at. Hello, Sandra Piper. I hope you're doing well. Lovely to see you. So yeah, the idea of getting multiple shots off with a revolver, big caliber revolver. I mean, you look at that recoil. You know, that's going up. That gun's going up. That thing's charging at you. And being a Sasquatch, it might not even charge at you in a full straight line. It might be doing some zigzags. It might try to circle around you. For it just to blatantly go straight at you, I mean, that would be very lucky. Hopefully, you can shoot at it as its head's bobbing and weaving, and it's going up and down over terrain, underneath stuff, over stuff, through stuff. Your adrenaline's pumping. You're about to freaking die because you see this monster in a horror movie, spider crawling at you, charging you, attacking you. I mean, you're going to be all over the place. Your adrenaline is going to be pumping so much that, on average, the average person isn't going to have the training, isn't going to have the practice to just isn't practicing for those scenarios of bear charging, bam, 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 bear charging, bam, 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 constantly drilling yourself over and over and over again with whatever equipment that you have. So where there's a bear 40 yards away, unholster your weapon, bam, 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 bam. You have roughly 2 seconds before the bear gets to you from 40 yards away. I would assume that a Sasquatch is at least that fast when charging, or faster. Could be faster. It could be faster than that. 20 yards in a second. It could be faster than that. Charging at you. That is scary. That is incredibly fast. When I think back at the encounters, or me and Jason Kenzie when we were up north, and I had a rifle on my back, and they moved the movement, and we turned around, I unshouldered my rifle, I pointed it at the direction, but at the ground, and they scattered. They scattered around both sides, and one tried to flank us and stuff. At any moment, or before they announced it, they could have ran up and grabbed us. Run up and grab you. Run up and grab your head. That's what they're going to do. They're going to grab your head, give you a little shake. You're dead. Your neck's broke. Pop your head off, squeeze your head. You know, it is so ridiculously easy, I would assume, for a Sasquatch to just kill you. That the effort alone is so weak. I mean, you're taking, imagine, a full adult male, 220 pounds. You look at a kid, a toddler, they're like 60 pounds, a fourth of your weight. How much damage you can do to a little person, a little kid like that. You can lift them up there and have fun and stuff. You're wrestling and stuff, power bombs and stuff. Basically, now you have a Sasquatch that is, 1,000 pounds, 1,200 pounds, maybe you're a fourth of its body weight, give or take, 250 pounds. Imagine what it's going to do to you. Pick you up with one hand, power bomb you. Now, but also it's several times stronger than what you would be. So it's going to be several times stronger to be able to lift that 220, 250 pounds, a fourth of its body weight around, throw it, rip it in half. I mean, your flesh is weak and brittle, and it's not, I'm sure, rips a lot easier than deer hide and fur, some of these other animals that it has to contend with. It's graphic, it's horrible and stuff, but this is the reality of it. If Sasquatch is going to get a hold of you and grab you and it's going to kill you, it's not going to be nice. He's not going to tell you, well, hush now, close your eyes, you're not going to feel a thing. It's going to be absolutely mind-blowingly scary. And if you're lucky, quick. I would assume quick most of the time, unless they intelligently want you to suffer. And I think if you go after and you shoot one of their kids and that blind rage doesn't just smush you, they might make you suffer. And that is an intelligence that, not many creatures on this planet do. There are some animals that, make other animals suffer and stuff, that play with their food, I should say, I guess, like cats play with their food, and tigers and stuff have sought revenge and stuff. And all right, so all right, let me get to these next couple of videos that I have to download real quick because I guess we could go to the YouTube, but I'm trying to testing to see if YouTube is going to give me a copyright strike or any problems by showing the videos off YouTube that way, or showing these little clips. I shouldn't get in trouble for either of them because I'm providing ample amount of commentary, which is original content that I bring to that video that we just watched, because it is we are repurposing it for Sasquatch educational purposes, of course. So I shouldn't have any problem, but sometimes YouTube doesn't like you watching other people's videos, but a lot of other people do it. It should be okay. All right. So let's bear with me as we get these other ones downloaded. And then I will also look up Texas Jack's gun that he wants us to look at. It looks like a pretty stout caliber too. Something that could do the damage. Potentially. You don't know until it actually happens. All right, let's see, is that working? Where do we have it? 11 o'clock? Okay. Cutoff time is midnight for sure because I got to go to sleep and get up in 5 hours. But I knew I was tired. I figured, you know what, just do it tonight. Wanted to do it tonight, getting ready. I got audio out in the woods, but getting audio, got several stuff that's downloaded, more stuff that needs to come in, download. I got a bunch of stuff I got to check still. A bunch of stuff I got to check. Audio and stuff. My audio, it's a little wonky, got the old one's a little wonky still. I reformatted it again, and then it reformatted itself, and kind of hoping that it fixed itself, and now it's actually gonna continue to record until basically the batteries die. It should record depending on the setting and stuff. I think I got 155 hours, 500 hours, 255 hours and stuff, but it will stop after 12 hours and saying it's full. I think it's just pretty much on its way out. So it's one of those things that, man, it's worked great for a number of years now, and it's been it captured a lot of all the stuff, right? So it's like it works good, it's good, it's but at the same time it's like, man. Okay, so let me take a look at the chat real quick and get the caliber. All right, got that video pulled up. Not exactly. All right, let me do that. Not the same kind of demonstration, but a pretty good example of a demonstration, I think, right, Texas Jack? So here is the gun that he was talking about.
Come on, welcome to Lever Guns 50. Today we're going to shoot this big old block of ice with this 1886 Winchester and this big old elephant cartridge.
Oh,
That's what I
yeah.
call it. It's actually a buffalo cartridge. But we're going to only use the
That's
300
sight.
grain bullet today. This thing's not completely frozen solid, but we're
It
going to
looks
use the
pretty
300 grain
stout.
bullet and see if it'll make it all the way through. We're going to set this jug of water right here and see if it catches it. Who knows what's going to happen? Let's get set up and get started and see what happens. Here's that big old block of ice we're going to
Might
shoot.
not necessarily
Hopefully
be a
we'll
good
catch that
idea to
bullet.
shoot at ice all the time. A lot of fragments coming back at you. But I tell you what, I think it does the job. I think it does the job, yeah. And that's kind of a sleek gun too. It's not such a big gun, like a big safari gun either. So I would assume, I'm sure it can't weigh a crazy amount of weights like we will actually see here pretty soon. We'll see this little slow-mo. And having that lever action and stuff, you'd be pretty quick on that. Very nice. Very nice. Very nice.
Broke ice everywhere.
Heck yeah, man. What fun. All right. So we did that. Let's download some more. That way we can just watch them all one after another. All right. All right, so these are 3 videos and stuff. And this is just going to be a little bit of the actual videos that you can watch on YouTube from the same Kentucky Ballistics. And we're going to answer a couple of questions with this one, actually. I with restream and stuff, I can only have like 4 little videos up at one time. Actually 5, but I have the intro up and it always stays up. So I can only like have 4 videos up at a time. StreamYard, you have a lot more, but I don't like StreamYard. I like Restream. StreamYard has got too corporate and charging an arm and leg, and they went corporate basically. And I got a heck of a deal for that Restream, and I got to say I like it. It's easy. It works. They got all the stuff that you can do on StreamYard, basically. Besides, I don't know, new stuff I haven't seen, but you don't need to pay twice as much for the same features, especially if we're just podcast streaming about Bigfoot. I mean, it's not like we're making millions off this, and it's essential to have extreme streaming. Although I would pay for a little bit better streaming in like 1080p, and I think they got 4K if you had like exceptional connection out in the woods, and you could stream in those higher qualities. That would be good, because right now when you stream out in the woods, it's gonna be 720p. Just because of the signals, and it's just we're not there yet. We are not there yet. All right, let me take a look at the last little bit of. Yeah, you got a longer barrel, especially on the at 44 mag and stuff. Instead of having that combat barrel length, you have a good full barrel length. You'll have better velocity, energy. It'll smack harder for sure, but it's going to take longer to get out of your holster. And again, if you're in the brush and stuff, those extra couple inches, they might snag up on some twigs and stuff. Especially if you get, a bear gets on top of you and it gets knocked around and stuff. You want to be able to shove a small gun up and around and slide it around crevices and stick it up into them. And bam, 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 as much as you can, because at that point you better do something, right? So yeah, I think for the most part, if a Sasquatch is really gonna hurt you and stuff, and you've got 9mm, you got something small, better wait till he's just about grabbing you, and you pump him full in the face with a bunch of bee stings. Bear in mind, see what I did there? The damage from every shot is making the effect of each consecutive blow that much more dramatic, weakening the skull and gelatin. And that is true when we do see the demonstrations and stuff. But we also can conclude that each bigger round is significantly much more damaging and stuff. So just like the example of that 44, at first it hit the skull and it ricocheted and went up, skidded across, but that second shot was through the nose, and actually what we would like to see. But yeah, that is true. And 9mm is good enough, because if you shoot it twice, now it's 18mm, so it's fine. It's a big enough caliber then. Yeah, I've seen 80-pound hogs tank 1-ounce slugs. To be clear, I'm sure they died right after running off. Yep. But they did, in fact, live long enough to run off. As big as they are low velocity due to pressure limits. Yes. Yeah, and hogs are notorious of being just tough and getting back up. There was one video I showed a couple years ago of a hog being shot multiple times. Bam, goes down. Like, it's down, dead. And he just, bam, gets back up, starts trotting. Bam, down again. Bam, pops right back up. Bam, down again. I think he gets back up again, actually. But at that point, yeah, you're dying. You're running on adrenaline and stuff. And that's what I'm saying. You might shoot something in the face and it's messed up, but it's not gonna feel it. It's not gonna care about it till after basically you're dead, or after a good 30 seconds, and you start pumping more rounds into them, because the body, that mind body connection is not there. That's why if some people who get shot, they're functioning and stuff, and then all of a sudden they look down, they're like, oh my god, I've been shot, and then they start freaking out, or the body short circuits and can't function anymore, even though they were functioning and bleeding out and doing high physicality stuff. As soon as that brain realizes, oh, I'm shot, I'm done. But animals are different and stuff, because once they don't have they don't think the same way and stuff. So when they're shot, they're full fight or flight, emotional, going bam through the walls. They're gonna go and go and go and go to basically till they drop dead. They don't go, oh, I've been shot, and the emotions take over and being scared. I'm sure they are scared and all that, but like that human intelligence, it's different. So I wonder, if Sasquatch if it's going to be like, oh my god, I've been shot, and something actually happens, or if it's like an animal, it's going to keep going until it basically pumps its blood out, its lungs fill up with blood, or it explodes, and it's hard to say. Animals are crazy. I'm sure we should actually watch some videos of hogs being shot, because they are tough, and the bullet ricochets off their thick skull and the angle of the skull and stuff, just like we've seen with the bear. Let's take a look at some big rifles, bigger rifles than what we've seen right there.
We're going to go ahead and step it up to some of the most powerful rifles in the entire world. And if there actually were dinosaurs on this earth, I would have this one. This is an A-square 5.77 Tyrannosaur. There was only 24 of these rifles ever made. 12 went to Africa and 12 stayed in the United States. And we are going to shoot the T-Rex with one. This is a 750 grain A square dead tough bullet, and I'm gonna send it right at Mr. T-Rex. It's time to see if this
And the
rifle
T-Rex skull, baby.
really holds up to its name.
I mean, anything that can take the T-Rex down, I'm sure.
Oh!
Oof, I'm sure.
Yep. I'd say
It's no problem.
that a Tyrannosaur would not want to be shot with a Tyrannosaur.
You'd be one of those, baby. So yeah, I think if you want to kill a Bigfoot, here's the rifle to do it. Good body shot with that. I think definitely bring one down, stop a full charge. I don't think that thing is going to be. He's going to feel it. He's going to be probably taking a step back or two, looking down and being like, "Ugh," and feeling that. Let's take a look at that gunshot one more time.
Bullet, and I'm. Oh!
Now
Oh!
notice the recoil on this guy, and he's not a small guy, right? He's a pretty big guy, right? He's at least. I mean, I'm 225. I'd say he's at least 225. He's 250. You know, he seems a little bit bigger, a little chunkier. Just look at the recoil. And so again, something's charging at you. Bam! You missed that first one. You got to re-rack, and you got to aim, and your shoulder's hurting. And a lot of these big rifles, as we're about to see, they don't hold much ammo. They don't hold much ammo at all.
Yep. I'd
So
say
let's take a look and watch the recoil.
really holds up to its name.
I like the style.
Oh! Oh! Yep. I'd say that a Tyrannosaur.
That right there, baby. This is, of course, educational purposes and stuff because we need a good demonstration of what these big caliber rifles can do because seeing is believing. And, you know, you can kill Bigfoot. It is possible. We have technology. We have guns. We certainly have the guns. I think America certainly has the big guns to do that. And so that is...
Maybe hard to believe that there are bigger rifles out there than the 5.77 Tyrannosaur when it comes to hunting, but there are. This is one of the biggest, if not the biggest, bolt-action rifle for hunting that I have in my collection. This is a 700 BMG, and as you can see, this thing is an absolute behemoth. This bolt is so big that it's not even funny. Basically, the 700 BMG is a 50 BMG case that takes a 70 caliber 1,000 grain bullet. Feel pretty bad for that T-Rex right now. Oh, I haven't shot this one in a while.
Now look at the recoil, too.
Here we go. This is going to hurt me as much as it hurts you, Mr. T-Rex. Oh! 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 I think that just kind of zipped right through him. My head hurts.
That's what happened. That round was traveling so fast, it just went basically right through him. You know, it didn't have that stoppage power. So the energy transfer, even though it breaks a big hole, it didn't stop in there. Maybe if it was a hollow point, it definitely would have. So let's take a look at another one. A bigger gun than that, because you know the bigger the gun, the better the gun for shooting Bigfoot, right? I mean, you want a 1 round stoppage. Yeah, I think
so. The final rifle that we are going to.
No, I don't remember if you guys did. I don't know if I clipped it and stuff. That previous gun was 25 pounds. Okay, that other gun that we just seen was 25 pounds. Take a guess how much this one weighs.
that we are going to shoot this Tyrannosaurus Rex with is the world's most powerful sporting rifle, the 950 JDJ. There are only 4 of these in the entire world. It weighs 50 pounds and is producing over 300 pounds of felt recoil. And this
50, it's a 50-pound rifle. 300 foot-pounds, felt pounds of shoulder oof that you're gonna feel. You're not aiming that gun. I mean, you're not aiming that gun. So this is not practical to go out Sasquatch hunting unless you're set up in a truck on a table or something. But having it out there, I'm sure you would feel a lot better about yourself.
And this is what it fires. This is a 2,400 grain bullet, moving well over 2,000 feet per second and producing over 30,000 foot-pounds of muzzle energy. That T-Rex ain't gonna know what hit him. This is gonna hurt.
See, look how that's loaded. So again, you only got 1 bullet.
I'm so excited to shoot this right now. I'm just totally not stalling, just enjoying the moment, you know.
Just look, yeah.
All right. Oh, here we go. Oh! Oh! Oh!
It obviously hurt. Look at that. It just goes right through it, though. I mean, you can probably shoot 2 Bigfoot. Just have a couple Bigfoot stacked behind each other. Just bam. Probably go through a nice sized tree with that and still take them out.
Oh! It's so hot. There's so much recoil. I mean, I'm fine. I like that. It was fun.
I love it too. I love it too. Thank you, Kentucky Ballistics, for bringing this awesome video content so we can watch and translate it towards Bigfoot. Okay, so the 50-pound rifle that shoots the 2,000 grain bullet going like 2,000 feet per second. I think that's more than enough, right? That's the one I want. I want that one. So killing Bigfoot, yeah, I mean, it's possible. We got the guns. The practicality, that's where it comes into play. I mean, you're not going to be dragging a body out, right? Unless it's in your backyard. You're most likely going to piss it off or piss the other ones off if you actually kill one enough that they're just going to come after you. You know, you better have a lot of ammunition, and a lot of these big bore safari rifles and stuff, they don't hold a lot of ammunition. Big bore revolvers and handguns, well, they're all revolvers, so they don't hold much more than 6 shots. So, and you know, you better make sure you hit them. And with those revolvers, you got to be kind of close because they're not going to be accurate past a certain yardage. So yeah, we can kill Bigfoot and stuff. You know, there's calibers, there's guns. A nice shotgun with a 12 gauge with a nice tube of ammo should get the job done. I think that's why Rangers rock them still. They don't have anything special other than those. And so yeah, you know, it's not that hard other than finding one and actually doing the job of killing one. But it's the aftermath that really comes into play of what are you going to do with the body? You know, you're going to drive it to the Walmart parking lot and let everyone know, call the local government, local news. I think, you know, you should really, the only circumstance that you should kill a Bigfoot is of self-defense. You know, I'm not at that place where I would want to actively hunt and kill one. Although, you know, it might be the only way to fully get it confirmed expediently. I mean, comparatively, if we get video, thermal footage, audio, it's still not going to really be enough. It's going to take time to convince scientists to get their feet dragging and going. But with a dead body that doesn't get covered up by the government, a dead body that gets officially recognized and stories told, and, you know, well, then, bam, things have to roll super fast. You It's not going to take months or years, videos. No. All of a sudden, bam, it's real. It's right in front of them. They can feel it, taste it, basically. That will jumpstart so many things that, in some sort of way, it would save a lot of time and years. It would shave years off of getting the official narrative and scientists actually just out there, mainstreaming like us, just out there all the time. Even though it's my belief now, especially the more and more sightings and data and stories come out of everyday cops, city, county, state, and feds, government agencies and officials have dealt with these creatures. They have killed these creatures. I'm sure they have dealt with them. The local cops of some of these counties that have histories of them, they must have a certain protocol. They must have a protocol of what to do when the bears, wink, wink, the bears are terrorizing the locals. Because there's some stories here in Michigan of multiple different agencies going after people who, are missing and stuff, and finding giant footprints around, or actually responding to calls of Bigfoots terrorizing and causing damage and stuff. But for some reason, I don't think we would find them in open records request. And I know that Eric from, I think it's Harryman Road now. It used to be Media Palace. He changed his name. He did a Michigan request out of a specific county, and I think he only got one back, which is surprising because there should be a lot more than that's just one, and there should be actually a history of it, I would assume. So I think there's definitely is cover up, especially when the state cops and federal agencies are involved. I'm sure that must be one or two or a few instances of some type of government agencies, whatever level, have killed these things, have interacted with these things, enough self-defense, things like that. You hear these stories about the military going after them, some helicopter crashes and Bigfoot stealing bodies and stuff. That unproven stories and stuff. But the reality is that there must be some legit stories of actual people encountering and going after these things in America, on American soil. But when you have like the story of, I think, the Bigfoots, getting the bodies of the downed helicopter crash that the Army, sent the task force after, or whatever. They were, the one thing about the story is, let me sneeze here a second. The one caliber rifle was described as a 308 Magnum that they were using, and at that time and stuff, the military doesn't use a 308 Magnum and stuff. That basically a 308 is, the military doesn't really use that caliber. They use 7.62 by 55 millimeter for most standard sniper rifles, bolt action and stuff, unless they move up to the bigger 50 cals and the like the Chi-Tex and stuff, which are like, they used to be like the 338 Lapuas and the 408 Chi-Tex, I think. So it was one of those things of this, fantasy caliber that is not really used in military and stuff, that's supposedly in the story because it sounds better. The Magnum, it's a bigger cartridge, and maybe it's just me, and maybe I'm completely wrong. Yeah, so they have a 300 blackout for, which is not a sniper rifle round, but a battle rifle round, an assault rifle, I guess. I don't know. But so a lot of those stories, you can tell and pick apart, and like, some of the gear, some of the tactics, the caliber of weapons. If the caliber of weapons don't match the U.S. military arsenal and it's not even real. I mean, it doesn't make sense. So that I just don't believe, but I think I know that they're for sure, because I was told that, if I ever got a body or came across a body, that I would expect the government to show up within 15 minutes, 20 minutes, give or take, maybe even sooner if I try to go live. I don't know. Maybe that was some bullshit. Maybe that's legit. But there's a reason why they keep it secret. There's a reason why it's under wraps. They talk about aliens in Congress and stuff, but they don't talk about Bigfoot. I think that's crazy weird. We got heck. I think we have more video evidence of UFOs than we have Bigfoot, especially recent stuff, right? With the invisible squid UFO or UAP over that military base, right, in the middle of the East, right? You can only see it on thermal. We have better footage of UFOs than Bigfoot. How does that work out? Come on now. Yes, this is actually pretty right. You can see how much velocity matters. The smaller 577 Tyrannosaur did more damage because it was a faster bullet. Yes, it depends and stuff. Faster bullets don't all necessarily mean more energy transfer, because you have that one bullet that will zip right through because the velocity is too fast and stuff. It'll just zip right through. But you have a little hollow point, which who knows, they make them stuff. Most of those are just hard cast, but you have a nice hollow point that will actually stop that energy transfer, and you'll get a big old cavity and stuff. So most of that was shot placement. Shot placement is everything. I'm just going to have to say, I don't think you have a choice. If the government shows up and says, hey, we want that Bigfoot body. Hey, we need this. Hey, we need that. You're not in a position to say no. You're in a position to say, okay. And most of the time, it's probably more likely to be like, okay, here's the evidence. Okay, now shut the hell up. Here's some money. Forget about it. That's most likely what will happen. Sign this saying you will shut up. If you don't shut up, you're going to prison because you signed the paper saying that you. That's exactly what you would do. It's classified information. Sign it. Bam. Done. Can't talk about it. Bam. Easy enough. Here's a little money. Compensation. I mean, that's proof positive right there, right? There's a reason why, and a lot of people think that, simply, if you just look up legends of giants from any culture of the world and you just cover them with hair and call them Sasquatch, they're just giants. All the world over has giants and stuff, although they're usually a little bit taller than Sasquatch. Giants who are cannibals because they eat people, right? The giants eat people. All the stories around the world are giants eating people for some reason. If you take the story and the just how the giants act, the mannerisms and stuff all around the world, and then you'd say, okay, well, let's go film one out in the woods at dark. Let's go after them and film one. You'd probably be like, hell no way. None of the stories are good. None of them are pleasant. None of them. But now you just say, well, Sasquatch. It's a friendly forest hippie giant. Because in modern times, no one's been officially killed by one. No one's officially been attacked. No one's officially been kidnapped. No one's officially been caused enough harm that officially we need to worry about it. But giants everywhere else in ancient times are known to be dangerous and eat people and attack people and are hairy sometimes and smelly. And why do they live underneath the bridge? Why do they sometimes the trolls live in water? And then you look at the story of trolls and stuff, or all that weird stuff. Even South America has legends of giants and chieftains that were giants, and supposedly a conquistador that did battle with a giant chieftain and his son, who the son was like 17 feet tall, and his dad, who was the chief, was taller than him. Supposedly, they went to war, and the chief. Long story short, the old man, the chief, the giant, walked and escaped into the mountains. It was never seen again. Well, his son supposedly died in the war and stuff, but they were from supposedly a bloodline of royalty of giants and stuff. You get into the Nephilim and all that kind of giants. I mean, that's what they are. You're giants, right? All right, let's no one says channel name. It's an original name. No one is in the woods looking. Might be one person in the woods looking now in the U.S. at most. Well, I'm not looking in the woods. I could be. I should be. I want to be. Need to be, right? Because you are right. Well, we all have everyday lives, families, and work. I got to tell you, after work, I'm tired. I'm doing a lot of push-ups, trying to do a lot of push-ups each and every day. Between 1 and 400 push-ups a day. I did 400 today. I'm a little tired. But regardless, everyone has work and you feel tired and, it's like, do I want to go after spending a day working and exercising and doing everyday life? It's 9 now. It's 9 o'clock. The sun's going down a little bit. You want to go walking and tromping through the woods, sweating, getting ate up by bugs, and looking for Bigfoot for another 2 hours plus drive time. You're out there for an hour. I mean, that goes by fast. You got to be out there for a little bit, drive back home, and lose a couple hours of sleep because you went out there looking for Bigfoot during the week, which most people don't do because they have lives and work. A lot of people don't want to sacrifice that extra amount of sleep. I think that it's a necessary thing that needs to happen. It's hard to do. It's easy to say. Just like tonight, I was tired. I wanted to start at 9, more like 9:40. It's almost midnight. I usually get up at 4 a.m. I'll get up at 5 a.m. I'll sleep an extra hour. I'll be tired, right? But should be sacrificing the time to go in the woods and stuff instead of, talking about Bigfoot, even though it's awesome and we can do that. Bigfoot's out there and stuff, right? So I agree. No one's actually out there doing it full time. Practically, we can't. No one gets paid enough to be full time out there all the time. But I'm gonna try to do that during the week. Like I said, it sucks. It's hard. It's gonna be kind of crappy, but at the same time, you can't wait. There's too many times that goes in between, the weekends and stuff for you to wait. I got audio out there and stuff, so I'm out there during the day and stuff. But to walk around at night and use that thermal and stuff, it comes with some sacrifices, right? And I don't think a lot of people are making that time to sacrifice for the for the goals. I'm gonna take another drink of my Powerade. We'll read the last of these comments, and then we'll be shutting the show down because it's midnight. I need to get some sleep. Got to be able to function. I got to wake up. Got to do my exercises. Got to do the push-ups. Got to do the push-ups. Because the goal is to do 10,000 push-ups in the month of December at least, and we're trying to get up our reps and stuff, get our endurance up of that muscle, right? The endurance to be able to keep doing all those reps and throughout the month of December without getting hurt and stuff. So we try to do between 1 and 400 push-ups a day. But that's hard to do too, because at the end of the day, you don't want to do that last little set. It's like, man, I'm tired. Man, I got a show to do. It's like, man, I can go back in the woods, go look for Bigfoot too. It's like, well, you need to do that extra little set too. It's like, ugh. It's a lot easier to wake up in the morning and get some exercises in. Yeah, so I think that's the last of it. That would be kind of cool as a test and stuff. Well, they are spying. I mean, come on, we have the Patriot Act. They spy on us. They watch the Apple stuff, the web camera. They got your locations. Have you guys seen the new AI traffic stuff that they're going to come out with? Like, they're going to just have they're going to have you in real time. It's going to be just public and stuff now. Like, trust me, they know, they can see you out there. They know where you are. They know what you're doing. They have pattern recognition software, AI that have been following you. If you want to go into crazy, real deep end stuff, your body is made of your body is an electrical machine with electrical impulses and frequencies, with electrical frequencies and stuff, and chemical combinations and concoctions, chemical reactions. But your body's an electrical chemical battery that can be potentially hacked into, observed, monitored, and even tracked. Your brain waves run on electrical magnetic pulses and frequencies and stuff. If you get into that psychic stuff, and I look at a person over there and I start thinking about something, and then all of a sudden they say the same thing that you were thinking. Is that magic? Is that voodoo? Is that psychic? Or is there some kind of brain frequencies? And we see this with photographs of auras, colored auras that we have, that people experience with different emotions, and what happens when you get angry and sad, and what happens to those emotions. We also know that living organisms like trees give off these energy waves, and humans give off these energy waves. And when you stand next to a tree, there's people and there's scientists and stuff that say that tree can pick you up and sense your energy, and you, specifically you, because your energy field, your signature is very unique to you, your mindset, your emotion, your energy. Some people call it spirit, right? That tree is able to pick you up and stuff. And there's so it registers that, it picks it up, it grows, it learns, and it just like it does with sound. If you play Beethoven and Mozart and classical music with a plant, it will grow faster and more robust than if you play metal or rap music or if you yell at a plant and you scream at a plant. There are tests done showing plants that are grown in a controlled environment, that are yelled at, that are basically bullied and told that they're not good enough, you suck and stuff like that. That plant doesn't grow. Actually, it has adverse reactions, and it doesn't grow as vibrant as a plant that gets told, "I love you. You are amazing. You're doing a good job." There are studies that show this through words and emotion, which is frequency, energy. You go into a room and you can tell, man, that guy's mad. You can see his heaviness. Someone's angry, really upset or sad and stuff like that. It's a whole different kind of science and stuff that we're on the cusp of getting into and stuff. And maybe it's all that quantum stuff too, but living organisms and stuff having this energy field, that is a reality and stuff, and we are able to see that and demonstrate that in different varieties and ways. So when you're out there and you have your intent is to kill Bigfoot or do harm, or you're just a sucky bad person, the woods feels that, the environment feels that, animals can feel that, and I'm sure Bigfoot can feel that too, especially if they're intelligent, they observe things, and if they especially were a little bit more hippie friendly forest giants than actually giants, troglodyte giants, they probably be more sensible to that kind of emotion and just natural tune of the woods environment and thriving of life. So one of those things you can think about of when you're actually in the woods, the trees know you're there. They feel you. They know where you're going. They can actually communicate with other trees and stuff. And they know if you're a danger and stuff. There's some plants that people who cut trees and plants and stuff, they move on to another section of trees, and that plant received some type of transmission from the other plant in distress, and that plant actually will try to curl up and hide and get away from this threat, this person who just cut this other plant and stuff. There's a bunch of different experiments and findings that are amazing like that. And communication of different plant species, tree species and stuff in the forest environment and stuff. It's amazing. It's on the cusp, and with that and the frequency and harmonies of birds singing and the natural life of a forest has shown to be having healing properties to people just by sitting out in the woods and listening. The environment, the acoustics, the frequency of the forest itself, with the combination of everything that's going on, produces a healing frequency that calms people's nerves, that eases anxiety and depression, and has a host of benefits that, again, we're just now discovering. So it's fascinating. It's a fascinating topic and stuff. Maybe that some of that can explain some of that woo paranormal stuff. Maybe some of that mind speak kind of stuff isn't. It's not paranormal magic. It's just everything's open out there. All these frequencies are going. All these different energies are crisscrossing and examining and looking through stuff. I mean, it's a wild place. And what's so funny is get a little biblical here and stuff is, God always, usually tells the prophets or tells people, to go into the wilderness or flee into the wilderness to get yourself together and stuff. because God is out in the wilderness and stuff. He's not in the cities and stuff. And it's kind of one of those things, like, you know, the wilderness is all these things, and God says that, you know, that's where he can be found, or where to flee to, or where the prophets need to flee, you know, all of that. Yeah. So with that, we are going to, as Jeff from Pine Island Research does like to say, we're going to try to land these plane. But I sometimes crash and burn as we try to land this plane. But I hope you guys enjoyed this little kind of rushed. It was a little bit. I felt like, you know, maybe if I didn't go so late, it was a little bit more refreshed. We could have maybe had a little bit of a fine-tuned show, but I think it was pretty good stuff. I appreciate everyone who was in the chat making comments and keeping things going and distracting me, of course, because I always love that. And I appreciate you because you guys always come out with awesome stuff. And I think you are exactly right. Organ music that are piped in through cathedrals and stuff have a very awesome acoustic vibration. And also the bells ringing, old-fashioned bells have healing vibrations and stuff. And sound frequencies and stuff might play a role in the being zapped and stuff. You know, that might be an acoustic vibration that is messing with the human body, or maybe they have some type of you know, energy manipulation stuff that they do. That it's not magic. I did the wrong thing. It's not paranormal. It's not magic. It's just this natural ability to interfere with your aura, your energy field, yourself, and make you sick and stuff. And that can all be done through audio, through audio vocalizations and stuff, hitting the certain frequencies. You can make a person actually have tunnel vision, dim their vision, go blind a little bit, shit their pants, get them sick, cause headaches, cause nausea, and actually put people to sleep and stuff too. Cause people to be angry, cause people to have depression, cause people to have anxiety, depression, happiness, all sorts of emotions through sound waves and frequency changes. And we actually have military weapons to do that. And we actually have, a couple of years ago, they advertised it. I'll try to find the video of corner stores having speakers that played a certain frequency that younger people, like teenagers, would be annoyed at and would leave the area. It was like anti-loitering audio acoustic equipment devices that you would play it and it would cause a certain group of people, like an age range of people who could actually hear the sound and be annoyed by it. I'm not sure if they actually made that into a real thing, but I'm sure I could find out the video. It's a couple years old of them talking about this idea of it actually working, but I don't know if they ever implemented it. All right, so that is it. I appreciate everyone for watching. May God bless each and every one of you, because you are amazingly special and definitely worth it each and every day. So never give up. Always fight the good fight. And if you need help, always reach out to someone. Pray, 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 pray. And no matter what happens in this clown world, always keep laughing, because no matter what, don't take it too seriously. It's a clown world. There's more stuff that's going to happen. You just have to keep laughing and enjoy the ride. So without further ado, I think the plane is on fire. We are crash landing. Mayday, mayday, mayday. I'll be back for you guys live soon enough. So you guys make sure you guys take care. And I'll see you next time.